Hello friends, welcome to the video of the story A Triumph of Surgery by James Herriot. This is a very interesting story of a pet dog named Tricky and his mistress, Mrs. Pomfrey. Mrs. Pomfrey pampers her dog very much, means she gives all the comfort she can, and as she's very wealthy, she gives all the nutritious food, ice cream, chocolates, Horlicks, creamy cakes, etc. Similarly, the dog has a number of balls for food, balls for breakfast, balls for dinner, balls for supper, and he has many beds for day, beds for night, and the dog has many coats also, tweed coats for winter and rainy coats. So the lady provides the dog with all the things as she loves the dog. She gives the dog extra dose of food, and she doesn't think about its exercise. So the dog has become very fat and it looks like sausage. Sausage means a bag full of crust and cooked meat. In Hindi, it can be understood as Mans ki potli. So the dog is not very active, and he has started to lose interest in food, and the lady thinks that the dog is suffering from malnutrition. So she gives extra dose of food as malt, cod liver oil, and Horlicks. The result is that the dog gets sicker, and now he has no interest even his favorite dishes, and he has vomiting tendency also. So the lady calls veterinary doctor. Here it is important to mention that the story writer James Herriot is not only a story writer but a veterinary doctor. As a writer, he wrote so many scripts for TV serials, and he is very famous, and we are so lucky that we are reading his story. The doctor James Herriot visits the lady and the dog frequently, and he advises to cut down his food and to give exercise. But the lady is unable to do so, and this time the doctor is very strict. He advises her to hospitalize the dog. That is the only way to cure the dog. The lady becomes sad, and she weeps, but the doctor is strict, rigid, and he wraps the dog in a blanket and puts it in his car. At this, the whole house gets busy, all the staff, all the maids, to bring all the belongings which may be necessary for the dog in the hospital. They are bringing all the bowls, they are bringing all the beds, they are bringing even toys. But the doctor thinks that it is not possible to carry all the things in his car. So he starts his car, and the lady, Mrs. Pomfrey, starts to weep, and she is successful to throw an armful of his little coats into the car. The car starts, and the doctor has a kennel, means hospital for animals, where there are other dogs in the hospital. Other dogs moves around the pet dog Tricky, but the pet dog has no interest in the surrounding of the hospital. He just lying. So the doctor gives nothing to eat for 2 days, but he gives plenty of water. And at the end of the second day, he finds that the dog starts to look at other dogs and cries also. This is a good sign. And the next day, when he opens the gate of the room, Tricky goes out and joins other dogs. He plays with them, runs and fights. Now his physical exercise starts. So it was seen that he felt hungry. It was seen that he was licking a bowl of food, although it was empty, left by other dogs. So it was a sign that he felt hungry. So the doctor next day gives a special bowl for the dog, and it was seen that Tricky was making much struggle for his food. So the dog starts to eat, and every day he plays and fight with other dogs. The dogs were also cooperative with the pet dog, but although the dog Tricky was small, but he fought with others for his food. And within 15 days, the dog was well. Mrs. Pomfrey every day asks about the condition of Tricky. She also asks whether the dog was given right coat according to weather. The doctor avoids such questions, and he tells that Tricky was getting well, and when the lady comes to know that Tricky was getting recovery, she begins to send dozens of eggs, 2 dozens of eggs per day, not only eggs but also wine and brandy. She thinks that these things are necessary to enrich his blood, but the doctor cannot allow such things, as he knows that these things will make the dog sick again. Now, eggs, wine, and brandy were there. So, what to do with these things? Now, in the hospital, there was a ceremony. The doctor and other staff started to eat 2 eggs per day, and they also start to take wine and brandy, and it was a very nice time for the hospital as they were enjoying such things, and the doctor wishes to have the dog as a permanent guest in the hospital. He confesses his temptation, his greed, but he is a good man, and he thinks that the lady, Mrs. Pomfrey, is unable to bear the isolation of the dog. So he gives message to collect the dog, and the lady comes to take the dog. The doctor brings the dog from his garden where the dog was playing with other dogs, and now he was more healthy as his extra flesh got tight, and when the dog was taught, it jumped from the arms of the doctor to the lap of his mistress. The mistress is very happy, although she has tears, but the tears are of happiness. Now she has no words of thanks, but she says it was a triumph of surgery. Although there is no surgery in the story, no medicine was given, only cut down food, and the dog is given exercise. So the story ends, but we have to discuss why do we like the story. The story is very humorous. Humorous means the story makes us laugh and at least a smile. There are so many points in the story. We cannot control ourselves to laugh when we see the lady, Mrs. Pomfrey. She loves the dog so much. She loves the dog as a woman loves her baby, and she is wealthy also. She provides the dog all the comforts, nutritious food items, and all the luxuries. The dog has a number of coats. He has a number of beds. He has a number of balls, and he has even toys. So we are surprised to see that the dog is very lucky to have a nice mistress, and we also we are also surprised to think that the lady pampers the dog. She gives all comforts, and she thinks that in her absence the dog will die. So when the dog is taken to the hospital, she weeps. Not only the mistress but the whole house, all the staff and maids weeps. So we think that the dog is so lovely, ladla of the house, and situation becomes pathetic. But we get tickled at such situations, and we find an ironical situation in the story. The lady sends dozens of eggs, wine, and brandy. She thinks that these things are necessary to enrich the blood of the dog, but the ironical situation is that these things cannot be given to the dog. So the doctor gets benefit of such a situation, and he enjoys eggs, wine, and brandy with his staff. Here again, we smiles at the situation of irony. This is also a didactic story, means educational story, as we see Mrs. Pomfrey. She loves the dog, she gives extra dose, and she doesn't think about his physical exercise. There are many women in our society who love their children. They force them to eat, and particularly if the family is joint family, she forces much to eat, and she doesn't think even about uh, that the boy goes to pass a stool or not, only eating and eating. And such women does not allow her children to go outside. She thinks that her child will fall into some trouble, so she doesn't allow. And it is not a good thing, because in Hindi it is said, लोटा और बेटा बाहर में चमकते हैं. So outside we have much struggle, and the struggle gives us shining, and if the child is not allowed to go outside, he will have one day difficulties. Here Mrs. Pomfrey only thinks about his diet, food, and she doesn't like to give any difficulty to the dog. So it is also a didactic story, and it tells much about our physical fitness. So The story is humorous and gives lessons, and it can be concluded that James Herriot, a great writer, has written a very interesting story, the name A Triumph of Surgery. Although there is no surgery in the story, it is again humorous situation. Actually, the dog does not need any surgery. The doctor is so skilled that he gives no medicine, he gives only water and no food, and the dog gets well. So, the title is also very suggestive, very humorous, and I think you will have understood the story. And if you have any query, you may write in the comment box. Thank you.